Hi, friends. Welcome to the Wellness Inspired Podcast. I'm your host, Sherry Davidson, and I am here, as always, with my Terrier Mix co-host, Finn. And before we get into this episode, I'd like to say that if you hear a raspiness in my voice or if I clear my throat in the intro of this podcast, please excuse me. I have been dealing with a sinus infection. I got it when I came back from Colorado, and I think it was the dryness of the air in Colorado. And then coming back to Houston, we came back in the Sahara dust cloud that came through here. So I think a combination of just being really dry and allowing all of the whatever was in that cloud into my sinuses created a little bit of a problem. But I'm recovering, but I am a little raspy if you can hear that, and I might clear my throat. So please excuse me. I might even cough, so please excuse that as well. But I'm excited about this episode because I'm back with another running adventure. And this time I have invited my good friends and trail runners, Jason and Kathleen, on to share the Durango Skyline running adventure with me and you. I did the 30K, Jason did the 50K, and Kathleen ran the 50-miler. We did the race together, so I thought it would be fun to do an episode together. So I hope you enjoy this. Also, Kathleen is a doctor of public health, and she's very passionate about health and well-being. And it's always fun when we're out on the trails together because we talk about health. So it's super fun. Her dissertation was on sedentary behavior in the workplace and what would make someone more likely to stick with a workplace physical activity program. We don't get into this conversation on this episode, but please stay tuned because that episode is coming up soon. It will be fun, and I hope you join. So if you're not into trail running, that's okay. There is a lot more in this episode. I will take you on a short journey of Durango to set the stage for our race. Also, Kathleen and Jason share how they started running and what keeps them running. We talk about the importance of movement and some tips to help you find your ideal movement to keep you active. But before we start, a teaser for an upcoming episode. Are you familiar with Feng Shui? It is the Chinese art and practice of spatial arrangement and orientation in the relation to the flow of energy or qi, to create a sense of balance and harmony. And one important goal of Feng Shui is to promote health and wellness by improving the flow of energy in your environment. So I've invited Frankie Hickson, a Feng Shui practitioner in Houston, onto the podcast to talk about the benefits of Feng Shui for health. So please tune in because it's coming up. And last but not least, I have an inspiring story for you. I have invited my friend Alma Nelly onto the podcast. Alma was diagnosed with cancer at a young age and lost her leg. Today, she is a triathlete and runner. She is also a longtime advocate of programs and creating community for adolescents and young adult cancer survivors through the Young Adult Advisory Council at MD Anderson, as well as she has been an advocate through running and speaking about disabled athletes. I met Alma many years ago volunteering for Achilles International Houston. Achilles is a nonprofit organization for athletes with disabilities. So you might have amputees, blind. A lot of the times they will need guides in a race. They will need extra support. And as a volunteer, that's what we did. So that's how I met Alma. It's a great organization. I have met many great people doing amazing things, and it's very rewarding. So if you're interested in volunteering, I will put the link in the show notes and you can check it out. I think it will be inspiring to have Alma on the podcast to hear her story. It has been a difficult journey, but her resilience to keep going in the face of it all shines bright. I hope you join us in a couple of weeks because I think it'll be a fantastic conversation. Okay, a little pre-race roll before we get into our conversation. Most of you know Durango. It is located in the southwest of Colorado, the home of Purgatory Ski Resort. I have been all over Colorado, but it was my first time to Durango. And this was my first time to experience Colorado in the summer. All other times I've been in the winter. I first learned to ski when I was in college, and shortly after I switched to snowboarding because I was also wakeboarding at the time. But my time has been spent in the snow there, and it was a different experience. You know, when I think of Colorado, I think of cold or at least cooler weather. In fact, when I was packing for the trip, I only packed pants to run in during the race. And then after getting there, I found it was quite hot. So now I have 2 pairs of new shorts. Lucky me. But Durango sits at about 6,512 feet above sea level. The race, we ran between 6,500 and 7,800 feet. And Durango has a Wild West history, and you really get that sense when you walk through the town, especially in Silverton. I felt like I could feel the saloons there and shootouts happening in the gravel streets of downtown Silverton. It was super cool. And, there are many cool things about Durango, but the coolest is the narrow gauge railroad that takes you on a scenic experience from Durango to Silverton. National Geographic voted it as the #1 ride in North America. It climbs 3,000 feet over 45 miles along the Animas River. But here's a fun fact. The train route started out a long time ago. The railroad arrived in Durango in 1881. Back then, they acknowledged the beautiful experience of the train ride, and they promoted it. And it is still going today. In fact, you can ride a steam engine if you choose. And another interesting fact that I read was General Palmer, back in the day in the 1800s, he wanted the narrow gauge and narrow passenger cars because he wanted to prevent men and women from being able to sleep in the same bed on the train. The narrow passenger cars only have room for a single sleeper bunk on each side. And I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this, but I found it an interesting driver of decision. So we were going to take the train ride on Sunday after the race, but it is a full day event and we really didn't have the time. We misjudged, and I'm not sure how we misjudged this because we've done this all before, but after the race, we were so sore it took us all morning to get moving. So better, our friend Maria, an incredible tour guide and host, suggested we drive. So we drove to Silverton that afternoon for a beer. Then we drove back to Durango, stopping at the Nugget Mountain Bar located at the Purgatory Resort. And they really did have the best food truck there. Another fun fact I learned about Durango is they are the happiest and the worst dressed city in America. And they celebrate it with the Snowdown celebration in January. It is one of the biggest and largest winter festivals in the state. And apparently it is a huge costume party with plenty of outdoor fun and activities. And I think I need to experience this and report back to you. So maybe in January, I will head back to Durango for this festival. But if you have not been to Durango or Silverton, what an experience. It is absolutely beautiful. And there are so many things to do there. And the people were amazing. So if you haven't been, I recommend you going to Durango and Silverton. All right, are you ready? Let's do this, the Durango Skyline Trail Race. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the Wellness Inspired Podcast.
Hey, Sherry. Thanks for having us.
Hey, Sherry.
I invited you guys onto the podcast because a week ago we did a running adventure. We participated in the inaugural Durango Skyline Trail Race. And obviously we did it in Durango, Colorado, so we had some challenges there, but it was beautiful. And I like to do adventure reports or race reports on the podcast because exercise and movement, it is crucial to our health and well-being. And for those that are new, I know running is not for everyone, and that's okay. My goal is to encourage people to find an activity that gives back to them 110% because consistency is what wins the race. Like how I threw that in there.
Yeah.
So if you don't stick to an exercise program and a movement program, it's not going to support you in health. I talk about that a lot on my podcast. And I feel really grateful that I found trail running because it gives back to me in so many ways. It gives me adventure, exploration, community, nature, movement, traveling, and culture. So I'm really grateful that I found trail running. And this is the first time I have included anyone on my running adventure or my race reports. So I expect it will be a lot of fun, but we did the race together. So I thought it would be fun to talk about it together. So let's start by telling everybody a little bit about you and who you are. And for the listeners, I would like to talk a little bit about how you started running and what keeps you running. So I don't know who wants to go first. Why do you run? How did you start running, and what keeps you running?
Sure, I can go first. So I am a trail runner, but I also have my doctorate in public health. And so health is something I'm pretty passionate about. In college, I started running because I was never athletic. I was never involved in sports, but throughout college, a lot of people would either use the elliptical or run outside. And my friend Brian got me into running, maybe a couple minutes with him a day. And at some point, I saw a lot of people outside running in all shapes and sizes, and I wondered if that was something I could pick up. So I started running for 30 seconds until I was out of breath, and eventually my uncle convinced me I could run a half marathon, and I did that.
Was that in Florida?
That was in Florida, yeah. So I think Disney was my first half marathon. And after that, I just did marathons for a while. And then my friend Grady talked me into trail running. And so
Grady?
Yeah, Grady talked me into trail running. He took us to the Memorial Park trails, and my friend James was training for his first 50 miler. So I went out on the trails to train for my first 50K. And so that's how I got involved with trail running.
And we should tell people how we met, right? Because I think I met you through Grady.
Yes, yeah.
And you know how I met Grady? Was through Heather.
Oh my goodness.
Heather Foley.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that was before I met you. I think you did your first 50 miler before I met you. You did Brazos, right?
Yeah, because I met you when I was training for my 100.
Yeah, and I was training for Comrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first. It was supposed to be my first. So, yeah, so that's great. And now you're trail running.
Yep. From 0 to 30 seconds of running to trail running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jason, how did you start running?
So I actually went out for a run when I was in high school with one of my dad's coworkers. Her name was Valerie Mafu. And she would go on back in the mid-90s to become one of the first women, if not the first woman, to ever hold 2 world title belts in boxing.
Oh, wow.
And
was she a runner, too?
She trained. She ran to train.
Yeah.
And she actually came up to this kid sitting on a couch while some of my dad's coworkers were all together working on a charity event. And she said, "Hey, you look like you can go for a run with me. Let's go." And
you didn't know her?
Didn't know her. Like, I'd met her like once before. So I was bored. I got up and thought we'd go for a little jog. And we ran all the way down to this water tower and all the way back. And when we got back, I asked her, like, how far was that? And she said, 3 miles. And that was kind of it. I had ran, before, like you have to in PE and stuff like that in school. But that's when I finally figured out, like, wow, I may not be the fastest guy out there, but I can run a really long time. The next thing I knew, I figured out what cross country was, and I found like the sport for me.
So did you run cross country?
I ran cross country in high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, and let's just also let the listeners know that I met Kathleen in 2017. I think it was 2017.
That sounds about right.
Because I think no, it might have been before that, because I think I did Comrades in 2017.
Well, I moved to Texas in 2016.
So it must have been
between then.
Yeah. And Jason's a trail runner, and you guys met on the trail at the Houston Haters, right?
Yep.
The Houston area trail
runners.
Trail runners, yeah. And now you're married.
Yep.
And I was in your wedding.
Yes.
So we're family. So that's really cool. So I didn't know that. So I didn't know you did cross country.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And kind of had a hiatus in running for a period, like around college and everything. And then a little after that, and came back to it trying to find my healthy place again after I'd kind of fallen off for years.
So what got you into trail running?
So trail running, well, if you run cross country, a lot of it is supposed to be off of road, typically speaking. But after high school, a guy in Huntsville, Texas by the name of Ken Johnson, who's like this guy that people from Houston to Huntsville, everybody seems to know who Ken is if they've been in running for quite a while. Ken got some of us that were of this like late high school age to come to a local running club like run that they had out in Huntsville State Park. And it was just a 3-mile run that they did once a week. And there was myself and a couple other guys that I don't even remember like who they were. And we all ran trails for the first time. And that was it. It was beautiful. It was awesome. And after that, like, I knew about trail running. I really became consciously aware of it at that point. But it would kind of be a while kind of stewing there, I guess, before I really found it as a sport. I went on to do some road running later and kind of got burned out on the trying to chase personal records and trying to chase these big goals that got you into the next race. And it became where it became not fun anymore. It was more of a task that I had set this new bar I had to live up to. And then I went and did another trail race just kind of randomly to take a break and realized, you know what? This is my happy place. My happy place is out in the middle of nowhere with the birds and the crickets and just straight up running for fun. Yeah. It's a different experience when you trail run than running on the road. And like you said, chasing cutoff times or not cutoff times, but chasing PRs
and new accomplishments.
Chasing cutoff times is the podcast that you...
Yeah, I got a shout out for because the race we're about to talk about, I finished 2 minutes before the cutoff, so
and got third place.
And I still got third place.
It was a little bit of a difficult race.
It was a difficult race, yeah. So, and we're going to talk about that race because I want to know, we've talked a little bit about it. We've talked about the difficulty of the terrain and the altitude. So we'll definitely get into that. But I want to know, and I want our listeners to know, what keeps you running?
I guess for me, it's the community. Running has a really unique community, and whether it's road running or trail running, I found a lot of support through running. I've met a really diverse group of individuals, and I think the thing that's in common is that we support each other and we highlight each other's strengths, and I think that's what's really got me to stick with running and trail running. And then there's just the fact that it makes me feel good, and trail running in particular, it's just beautiful. I feel like one with nature, and it feels like home to me. So I think that's what's gotten me stuck with trail running.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's healing, yeah, it's definitely healing.
The camaraderie is definitely an important factor. I mean, the majority of the friends that we tend to hang around are all related to running in some way. But for me, the core of it is that being out on the trails in the middle of nowhere really kind of centers me back to Mother Nature, and that's where none of the other things really matter anymore. It's just putting one foot in front of the other and seeing what I'm capable of doing. It's really a mental health thing for me. It keeps me healthy in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you. I think the running community is fantastic, and I'm assuming that it's fantastic everywhere. I always say Houston's running community. I haven't really run anywhere else. Florida
was great.
Yeah. I think it's just when you get a group of people together doing stuff like that, it's just awesome, and it is very supportive, and that's one of the things that's kept me going with my running, and now it's just like second nature. Why don't we get into what the race was like? We were supposed to do this after the race. Right, in Durango.
We had high expectations for how we would feel right after the race, and that wasn't really the case.
And the timeline that we had. And
yeah, it was a little difficult. We were too busy recovering and trying to walk just across the room.
Yeah. So the other problem was we each did a different race. So Sherry, you did the 30K?
30K.
And then Jason did the 50K, and I did the 50-miler. So we all started and finished at different times.
But we still did it together.
Yeah.
I still think we did it
together. Oh, for sure. The experience was still shared.
I saw you once on the trail.
Oh, yeah. No, twice.
Did I
Remember, I came back around.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I saw you twice. I had a feeling I might run into you. I did have a feeling. I was wondering if I'd run into you, but I never
Yeah,
did.
we
I was
never
out there
crossed
pretty
paths.
much by myself the whole time,
Me too.
which is fine. Different experience. Most of the time, I have at least one person that I stick with, but this time it was just me. Lots going on in the head. Who picked the race? You picked the race.
Yeah, you and I had talked about wanting to do a race, maybe something outside of Texas, and I hadn't been to Colorado before. And so I asked Maria, our friend who moved from Houston to Colorado, actually Durango, if she had any recommendations. And so she said, oh, there's this Durango Skyline Race in my backyard. And we thought it would be cool to do. Sherry was on board, and so I was on board. That meant Jason was gonna go with us.
Yeah. So we did talk about that. And I love the mountains, so I definitely was on board. I just wish I did better in the altitude. I did talk to a friend of mine today, and he's in between. Is it Pagosa Springs and Durango? So he's like, "Why didn't you call me? We would have come to support you." They just had a baby, and but I didn't realize he was only 40 minutes away. But he told me about a friend that was here that has a gym, and they do running underwater. I haven't looked at the link yet, but apparently it's supposed to be good to help and train for, I guess, altitude. I'm
Interesting.
not sure. I need to read up on it. I could be completely wrong about that, but I'll let you know. He
Yeah.
sent it to me today.
Let us know.
Yeah, it's a gym here in Houston.
It's interesting.
But training for altitude is hard to do in Houston because it's so flat here. We don't have 14-foot peaks.
No doubt.
I was
No
so
doubt.
jealous of Maria. Her Thursday is a vacation for me. Her Thursday afternoon is a long planned vacation for me.
It's a dream.
It's a dream.
Well,
Yes.
just when we were out on the course to see the local people running there
they're
at that
amazing.
elevation, once you're acclimated to it, and it's just
Amazing.
nothing to them.
Nothing. So jealous. But anyway, so we'll get there. So you picked the race. I jumped on board. Jason jumped on board. We all did it. And Jason, you had COVID before, and you've had some long hauler symptoms. Yeah.
I did. Unfortunately, actually, Kathleen and I both got COVID right around Christmas. It didn't really seem to be terribly bad, and Kathleen was fine. And then on the other end of it, I've had issues actually breathing when I run since then. I'm still working with my doctor to try to get to the root of everything. But even when I've been out running with friends, I can't either keep up quite the same. I can't carry on a conversation at a pace when we should be able to talk to each other. And that caused me to go see my doctor and start trying to look into it. It's still kind of a work in progress as far as that goes, but that did make this pretty difficult for me.
You had an inhaler, right?
I did. I used an albuterol inhaler, but like I'm supposed to do that before I run. They're kind of leaning toward maybe it's like an exercise-induced asthma thing going on, at least for now. I'm hoping to get over it, but it has been a drastic change to me going from someone who has always considered themselves pretty competitive. I mean, even though it's more about just being out in nature to me, at the end of the day, like I've got a competitive streak. I want to be.
We got cutoff times we got to meet, right?
Yeah. So I want to be competitive. I want to push ahead, but this race was something new to me in that I went into it knowing I just needed to go out and not quit, basically, and not let it beat me.
Yeah.
So that made for an interesting day.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did.
I did.
You did.
I did. Everything kind of played out according to plan for me. I was dead last.
I thought you were second to last.
No, they just kept telling me that to keep me going and encouraged at the aid stations, I
I
think.
think we were all second, because I was like, I think we were all second to last.
No. I did one better.
Hey, we did it. We
Yeah.
did it.
We did it.
We did it. So tell me about, I know we've talked about our experiences, but our listeners haven't heard it. It's just, what did you guys think about the race and give us a little report on that. I know we all agreed that it was difficult. The terrain was difficult. I don't know, how high did we get? What was the elevation?
Was it?
I don't remember.
It was close to 7,500.
7,500.
Like the highest. It was a little bit less than 8,000, I think.
Okay.
And then I think the total climbing that I did during the race was about 8,000. I think the 50K had like 5,000 feet of gain, and I think the 30K had about over 3,000.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't remember. For some reason, I'm thinking 65.
I think the range maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I could kind of start out with my
Yeah.
my race in general. So, I think everything went according to plan for me,
Yeah.
given that my plan was not my typical plan.
Mm.
I told myself going into it to make sure that I was prepared. I had all the right gear. I had all the nutrition on me that I needed. I planned my hydration well. And as I just went through the course, I kind of told myself to just move comfortably as best I could at any time. And to remember, I don't train in this environment, so it's okay to see, other people doing things either faster or maybe without trekking poles at this point and things like that.
A lot of them did not have trekking poles.
No, they didn't. But
Mountain goats.
But as the day went on, I made the right plays when it got hot. Mm-hmm. I took my time in places because I've got a fair bit of experience in warm races. It's kind of my thing.
Habanero 100.
All the moves kind of went just as they should all the way through. And I got it done. It was beautiful. There were tons of beautiful views. When I had the chance to go faster, I took full advantage of it. When I needed to play it smart and conserve energy, I did. When I knew I was going to run low on water just because of the gap between aid stations, I played that smart as well. So I can't say I would change anything about how it went for me.
Yeah.
And the people there were wonderful as well, too. That was really great to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so, too. I mean, I didn't expect it to be as hot. You guys know that because I was going to run in pants and I had to go. That was strongly encouraged to buy some shorts. So I did. And I was very glad that I bought those shorts. In fact, I didn't even need that long sleeve shirt. I think I took it off maybe not even an hour after starting. But I did not expect it to be so hot. As far as the altitude, I've struggled with altitude before. Kathleen and I did Bryce Canyon. She did the 50 miler and I did the 50K. And I did struggle in altitude. And in fact, I kind of started having a panic attack there. But I think it's because I didn't know what was going on with me. And I think it scared me because I could feel my whole pulse like beating throughout my whole body, including my head. And it was, my heart was pounding so hard I could
Scary.
It's scary. Yeah. And then I couldn't move. Like I literally could not move.
No, that was at Bryce, though, right?
I was at Bryce, yeah.
Yeah.
I started off, it was a different feeling. I never felt that before.
Yeah.
And I think I panicked, unfortunately. This time, it wasn't quite as bad. So I did not have a panic attack, so that was nice. And I was able to kind of think about what was happening. But I learned some stuff, too. I learned that I need water, and not a bag full just of electrolytes and water. That's really important to me because I'll stop drinking. So I learned something. You learn something on every race too, right? But it was beautiful, and I agree that the volunteers were absolutely amazing. The community was absolutely amazing, and I thought it was a really well put on race, and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the views as well, and it was fun. It was fun to do it with you guys.
So if I can ask you in relation to the elevation, because we've been in other mountains and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And as you gain that experience, you learn to deal with it a little differently. Did you attack your climbs differently than you did in Bryce, knowing what you know now? Did you No?
No.
You were just aware of the fact that you weren't going to let yourself panic about it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. Well, and I didn't have the sensation either. It wasn't as strong as it was in Bryce. I mean, I could feel my heart pounding, and I exercise all the time, so I know what it feels like to have your heart racing because of exercise. This was different. And it did it a little bit in Colorado, but not as intense. And so, and then that was when I went to Sugar Hill. And that's when we emptied my pack out with the electrolyte.
Mm-hmm.
And we put just water in it. And I took the electrolyte pills. And that seemed, I drank like 10 little glasses of water while I was there. And it seemed to like put a little pep in my step, and my heart wasn't racing. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that was just an observation that I made. But I tend to do better with the water and taking the electrolyte pills, I found out.
I think something that I can say about anytime we're running in altitude or even mountain climbing and stuff like that is like it's still something, as experienced as we are down here at sea level,
Yeah.
It's still something we're learning a little bit about how to deal with. So good job.
Yeah.
Good job figuring out how to get through that. And I'm sure the next time there will be another thing learned, and
That's what
as we
it's
go
all
on.
about, right? You just keep
Exactly.
learning and trying different things. And for the people that don't know, when we run these races, we usually have a hydration pack on our back, and we have food in them. We've got gear. We've got electrolyte pills, especially when it's hot, because we need to make sure we're getting all the electrolytes. So that's what we were just talking about. So, Kathleen, what was your experience?
Well, I was thinking, I'm surprised we all did this after we did Franklin Mountains last November, because that race was really painful. It's in El Paso, so it's a Texas mountain, but it still was pretty rough for us. So I think we were all a little crazy to go to Durango to climb a mountain. But I think I tried to prepare well, knowing from that past experience that things can get rougher than you expected. Like, I think that race took me maybe 11 hours. I don't really know. It was a 50K I did, and it took way longer than I expected. So I didn't plan for it as well, and I realized to plan for the worst. Jason always tells me that I plan for the best race and not the worst race. So I tried to plan for the worst this time. And so beforehand, I made a drop bag with anything I might need. After I finished the 50K loop, I had to go back out and do a 30K loop. So I prepared stuff in there. I put food, I put extra clothes, warm clothes, cold clothes, and then just lots of food, and then anything like nail clippers, Band-Aids, anything I might need. Unfortunately, after the first loop, I was so short on time, I forgot and also did not have time to go to my drop bag. But I did make it for that first 50K cutoff, and the 50K loop was pretty challenging. I think the race was challenging for all of us, but it was harder than I expected. And a lot of people were from Colorado or New Mexico, so us from Houston were struggling a little bit more than everyone else. And a lot of the races we do, we usually see lots of people on the course. This was an inaugural race, so there were less people. And I feel like it was a little, difficult to not see as many people and to feel like everyone was going faster than you. So it was a big mental challenge. After mile 22, I got to the Horse Gulch aid station, and I decided to take my long sleeve sun shirt off. So I had that shirt on to protect me from the sun, because we were going to get a lot of sun out there in Colorado. But it was just getting way too hot for it. And luckily with my Solomon vest, my sports bra and just the vest worked out just fine. I didn't have any chafing, so I was really surprised with all that. But after leaving Horse Gulch, the race got more difficult, and we had a very hard climb with these rocks that looked like they belonged in like some kind of aquarium. They were just like nice pebbles that were giant in size, and I had to climb up them. Thank God I had my trekking poles. And then after that, we got to the ridge line, and there were these boulders you had to climb. And I'm sure the fast people just flew over them. But it was a challenge for me. And so at one point before that, I had talked to my coach, and I said, hey, I think I might quit. And I think, the 50K loop is just going to be enough. And I thought about Sherry and Jason, and they were going to be finished. And if I finished, we could just all have fun. And so I was thinking about all that. And then
that was the reason why you were going to quit?
One of the reasons. I had a lot of support for this DNF. I came up with every rationale that worked. One of the rationales was I haven't had a DNF yet. So I thought, this was a great time. Like, we can celebrate my DNF. Like, this will be perfect.
This is such a gorgeous place to quit.
So then I, sat down on this rock and the view was gorgeous and I started crying. I'm like, yep, this is it. I'm going to DNF. I'm going to finish this 50K loop. I'm not going back out. Like, it's going to be crazy to have to do 18-minute miles for 18 more miles. That's insane. And so I had looked at my phone and my coach sent me a picture of him smiling and I was like, oh, geez, great. And he texted me something and I said, hey, I think I'm going to quit. And he's like, don't let them make them take you off the course. Don't take yourself off the course. And it's something my friend Linda and her husband Jared have told me before when I had done a race earlier this year. I wanted to quit again. I guess it's a common theme, but we're getting back from races after COVID has just been, I think, a harder mental challenge than before because the more you do them, you get comfortable with being in that discomfort. And so I think I'm just having to get comfortable with that again. But anyway, Linda and Jared have told me that before too. They're like, you don't leave the race. Have them take you off the race. And so that made me smile and I kept going. I saw the photographer, had tears in my eyes. It's one of my photos on Instagram. You can't see because I have sunglasses on, but it makes me happy to think I was about to quit and then I got myself up and kept going. And then after that, I was just chasing the cutoff. I was just running and walking as fast as I could. I made the 50K cutoff. And then when I was out doing the last 18 miles, it was just about finishing. So it was fun to see you guys at, I think, around mile 40. You guys said I was delusional. I was delusionally happy.
I have pictures.
And a video. But after I met you guys, I kind of knew, okay, I'm going to do this. I didn't look at my watch much after that. I had just made sure I checked in with the next aid station. They said, oh, you're 30 minutes early. You're great. I did not realize when I finished the race that I was 2 minutes from the cutoff. So that was a shock. But I did run as fast as I could, as much as I could to finish the race. And I think it was a great experience to struggle and then get over it. So that's the beauty of the race.
Yeah, and that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go through difficult times and we have to learn how to push through and get to the other side. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like them. Builds resiliency. Yeah, builds resilience.
I always tell people that I think ultra running kind of parallels life. Like they say, art parallels life in a lot of ways. Running does the same thing at these events. You learn so much about yourself, about what you have in you, about how to keep going, about how to succeed, about how to
failure.
About failure, about how to deal with things when stuff's really, really, really hard. And I think it really builds a character that you take into the other parts of your life with you to help you do well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I love. I love about it so much, and it's beautiful. And I love traveling and doing it. So it's and part of that is culture for me, and part of that is I just love traveling and seeing different places. But yeah, and there's no better way to experience a place than to run through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always thought some of the best views I've ever seen. I've been running along and turned a corner and just went, whoa.
Yeah.
Because you've got this beautiful view that you just had no idea was going to be there.
Yeah, it surprises you. Yeah, one with nature.
Yeah, and I love traveling to do a race with friends because it really builds those friendships. Sherry and I and Jason have traveled a few races at least, and we got to hang out with our friends Maria and Jerry in Colorado, and so just builds on those relationships. It's a shared, unique experience. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to ask this question because it always comes up for me. And Kathleen, I think you said this in the beginning, but you are a doctor of public health. and I'm in the health and wellness space, the question I always get when I do these endurance sports is that healthy for you? Do you get the same question?
I get a similar question. I get often a statement, it's not healthy for you. I usually don't say much at the time because I'm angry, but I agree and I disagree. I don't think health is really black and white, and I think we who practice in health or public health know there's so many dimensions to health. It's not just what you eat, or it's not just your social network, and it's not just your income or your education. Like, all of that is combined. It's what you do, what you eat, where you work, your stress levels, and so it's not black and white at all. I do think that the amount of exercise and energy we're exerting at a particular ultra marathon is a lot. It's a lot on the body, but we also hopefully try to recover correctly and train correctly. And my training plan right now is actually pretty low mileage to prevent injury and focus on strength building. And so that's what I really liked about my coaching plan right now. So it's like prevention. What can I do? I know my body's going to go through a lot, but what can I do before and after to keep it safe? And the other thing I'd say is, I said health is multidimensional, and part of that is my mental health and my social health, and doing a race really builds those aspects. So it really builds how I feel mentally. It makes me feel more connected to the earth. And then it also builds my friendships and relationships. And that's a big part of your health too. And so I think maybe it is taking a lot out of my physical health, my muscles, my body physically, but it's building these other aspects of health. And so I think in every part of life, we have give and take. And I think at that moment of that race, there is a little bit of loss in the physical side, but a lot of gain in the other sides.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. It is multidimensional, and it's important that we find these activities that can give back to us in those ways, right? And I think if you train well, if you listen to your body in your training, and then but you have to go all out race day, right? Like there's no pulling back on that day. But also, if we don't push our bodies and push our limits, then how do we know what we're capable of and capable of achieving? And so I think in that there's a huge gain. Who was it? I read this somewhere, like nobody was slam dunking in basketball. And the minute, I don't remember who the first person was, we'd have to look it up. They slam dunked. Everybody was slam dunking. It was like they all of a sudden had this realization that they could do that too, right? And so that's huge, like to evolve and to move forward in your capabilities. And I think there's a lot to gain in that.
Yeah,
individually and as a community. Yeah,
I agree. And I think also when I say mental health, I don't just mean like health in terms of feeling better at the moment, but building that resiliency for hard moments. So the struggle of the trail race helps me build that strength for other things. And I think we also, set limits on ourselves. We set limits on what we can do, but people are doing 200 milers. There's a lot of people out there doing FKTs. And so we're showing, I guess, the world that maybe what we have limited, we can actually surpass.
Yeah. And one day it'll be normal, and it's like what we do. A lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around the distance. But like you said, you ran when you first started, you ran for 30 seconds or until you couldn't run, and then you stopped.
Yeah.
And you just kept building on that. And then look at you now. You're training for your first 200 miler, which a lot of people can't wrap their mind around that distance. But eventually everybody's going to be doing it. Well, maybe not everybody, but they'll know they have the capability of doing that, right? And then what are we going to do?
Yeah, and that's what I hope people can see, because I did start from nothing. I was out of breath in 30 seconds to be able to do this. I'm not that unique, other than James would say in the mindset or determination, but I do think a lot of people can do more than they think. And when you think of us running a 30K, a 50K, 50 miler, there's a lot of walking involved too. So don't think we're like speeding a 5K race in the trails, because
It's different.
it's a very different experience. So maybe even just go watch one of these races if you want to see the difference in people that are there. It's a lot of different speeds and
No, I agree with all of that. So I do get that question, but most people do ask me if it's healthy for me. No, they don't say, what do they say to you?
they tell me that it's not healthy.
Oh, it's not healthy.
Yes, it's certainly not healthy. But
Do you ever get asked that?
I do. I do get asked that as well. And I mean, I tell them, for me, it's really a mental health thing. It's about getting out and seeing what I'm capable of. Ultra running has taught me that there's not really much of anything you can put on my plate that I can't handle.
Yeah.
I've dealt with some very difficult times at work. And by difficult, I mean just tons of work and crazy situations post Hurricane Harvey and stuff like that. Actually, in that instance, and I won't really get into all that, but I knew that no matter what, I could keep going because of where I had been and what I had done before. Yeah. And when other people were tired and wanted a break and things like that, I was able to just say, no, this is important. I need to do this. And just keep my head down and keep going. And it does. It's been a great thing for me professionally at times. But for me, as far as my own mental health, it has been a tremendous help to that. And people can say anything's not healthy for you. Flying's not healthy. There could be a plane crash. I would look at it too, like, okay, well, yeah, I could get injured, but also if I live a sedentary life, I probably am going to get injured at some point.
Different injury.
A different injury. So this way I'm constantly working on things, and running does also give me the chance to see if something is out of balance long before. As a matter of fact, I would say, as far as my health, when I got back to running after taking years of a hiatus, I found out that my hip wasn't properly aligned and had to have that worked on and stuff from an old injury that I had. And had I not got back to running, that would not have become evident, and probably would have caused me to have some serious issues by this point in my life.
Yeah. True. I like it. So what's next? Kathleen, you're training for a big race.
Yeah, I'm training for Moab 240. I feel like I need to get more confident with announcing that. There's a little bit of embarrassment because I'm excited and proud about it, and I don't want people to think I'm too awesome because I haven't stepped foot there yet. But I am excited, especially just to be a woman who will be out on the course doing it. I think that's really exciting, and Jason's going to be there crewing, and my coach Tommy's going to be there. So I think we're going to have a great team, and Jason's about to go to another 200, so he'll have all the experience to take with him to help me.
Not exactly doing a 200. I will be going later on this week. I'll be heading to Tahoe to sweep the Tahoe 200 course.
And tell people what that means.
Yeah, that's not exactly with a broom. We don't go behind, leave no trace, dust off all the footprints. By sweeping the course, it's kind of a safety volunteer position. So we will stay behind whoever the last runners are to make sure that they make it to the next aid station. And also at the cutoff times, simply to make sure we didn't leave anybody out in the middle of the wilderness. And then also we'll start taking down all of the markings as well as we go to help clean up the course. And it won't be something I'm doing alone. There's a team of us, and we kind of break it up so that we are never alone, for one, but then secondly, that we only have to do a mere 100 or so miles.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the benefit of doing that is you do get the experience of it, and then also you get to enter a race. Is that right?
I do.
Yeah. Is it a free entry?
I get a free entry into another one of these 200 milers, which is
You just got to
kind
pick
of out there. Yeah, we haven't. None of us have really dabbled in that distance yet,
Yeah.
so we're learning
Yeah.
that. So it'll be interesting to see which one I land in.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be in the Faroe Islands.
Nice.
I guess the weekend. I'll be coming back 2 weeks before you take off. So I think
I'm excited for your adventure.
I know.
Yeah.
I've talked about it a lot on the podcast, but for those of you, if you're new, I will be going to the Faroe Islands the end of August, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. I'll be there for a trail festival. So I will be exploring the islands, running for 4 days, and then the last day there's a race. So I'm going to do the half marathon. There's an ultra distance, but I was telling Kathleen on Sunday that I'm a little nervous because it's a pretty dramatic elevation, and I've already run in Iceland, so I have an idea of what that is like, and it's pretty difficult. But also, I'm really nervous about the fog dropping in, and I don't know how to navigate my way in the fog. And I've read some. In fact, the lady Inga, who I went on the Iceland running adventure with, she guided somebody that was a pro trail runner, and the fog dropped in, and he wrote a blog post about it, and he was saying that she navigated them out of it pretty safely. And I was like, oh no, I don't know how to do that. And I assume it'll be very similar. Like there won't be a lot of people doing the ultra.
And I think it's really okay when you go on some of these big adventures that we go on to faraway places. To do something that is definitely reasonable. Yeah. Especially when you're out there pretty much by yourself. You don't have a team of local people or friends that or something like that. Mm-hmm. And part of it should be about enjoyment. It doesn't always have to be about trying to do the biggest thing you could ever accomplish. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's where it kind of comes back to our own health, right? Yeah.
Well, and why I do it. Part of it is I love traveling and running, and I love exploring through running. And so I think it kind of checks those boxes. But I can't say that competitive side of me is I really want that distance. I really want to be able to say I did that, right? But I'm going to, save it for another race. It'll be fun. But I totally agree with you. Okay, what else? I guess we should probably think about wrapping this up. But I have one more question for you guys. And this is for the listeners. What would you say to the listeners that are struggling with an exercise routine? Would you have any advice for them? Any tips? We've all been there.
Yeah, I did my dissertation on physical activity and sedentary behaviors, one of my big research interests, but I would say that sometimes I don't like the term exercise because I feel like people think about it negatively, right?
So that's why I always say exercise and movement.
Yeah, so I love the idea of movement, and I tell people who are, struggling with moving is gardening, moving is walking to your car, parking farther away from the grocery store, moving's doing an indoor walking video, and so there's a lot of different types of movement. So I would say to find something you enjoy. Think about the things in your life or in your past, in your childhood, that were ways you moved that brought fun to your life. And because that's what trails do to me. They make me feel like a kid, right? So I'm in love with them. I enjoy it. I enjoy going on a trail run or hike. If it's something you don't like, it's going to be so hard to do. So just find that thing, and it's okay to experiment. It's okay to be nervous at first. I have attended a Zumba class once, and I was not good at all, and I was so nervous about going, and it was fun moving, but it wasn't the right movement for me. And I think everyone has different kinds of movement that are right for them, that they enjoy. So they don't have to compare themselves to anyone, but find something that they like, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says.
I agree with that 100%. And I think one of the things I'm going to pull out of what you said is to try. If you try something and it doesn't work, try it again. Because I think it's so important, right? It's like people, they feel like, okay, I should go for a run, right? Because that's what everybody else is doing, and that's what I know. If that doesn't work for you, you're not going to stick with it. And so If that doesn't work, if you go for that run and it doesn't work, then try something else. Maybe go for a walk with your significant other, or maybe garden, like you said, or just keep trying things, because eventually you're going to find something that fulfills you in a way that you can stick to it on a regular basis.
Yeah, and there's multiple ways to do something and multiple instructors out there. I've gone to several yoga classes where I would think I wasn't incapable of doing anything, and then you have another yoga instructor or type of yoga where you're like, wow, I can do this. I enjoy this. So I would also say to find different people out there to guide you, or different instructors, because everyone's different. They have different opinions, and that's okay. But I guarantee you there's someone out there that can help you find the right movement that's right for you.
Yeah, that you'll keep doing over and over again. Yeah.
Kathleen, I think you bring up kind of a great point there. Recently, my sister started trying to do a regular walking regimen again, and she was having an issue with what we think is probably shin splints, right? And I say this because I think stuff like this happens for a whole lot of people. They get out and they start trying to do something, and then they have an issue going on that they didn't know existed. So one thing I know from running that we'll find is you exacerbate these issues that you didn't really realize were issues. In a lot of cases, people just say, I can't do that. And that's not really the case. What we already know, and what my sister is talking to myself and Kathleen about, is that there's probably a weak muscle somewhere that she hasn't been activating, that she needs to figure out what to do with it. So I would say too, not only find something that you think you'll be able to enjoy, but if it starts out that there's just some kind of problem and it's more than difficult, something seems like it's, really hurting, like reach out to people that you know to try to figure out what you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because it could be as simple as a cheesy little exercise that seems like you're doing a whole lot of nothing, that seems to take next to no energy. And the next thing you know, all of that's completely better.
Well, and especially for people who have been out of a movement routine for a long time, you're going to have some weaknesses, right? Somewhere,
Absolutely.
Whatever activity you do, you're probably going to have some growing pains and trying to get the strength to do that activity if you've been inactive. Yeah. So I agree. I like it. All right. Well, I guess that's a good place to wrap it up. You guys have any other comments or?
Thank you for having us on. It's been a
This
pleasure.
was so fun.
Well, and Kathleen's going to come back on. I'm sure you guys will meet Jason and Kathleen again, but I know Kathleen's going to come back on, and we're going to talk about was it your thesis?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about my dissertation.
Oh, your dissertation.
And then just my background in sedentary behavior and physical activity research. So
I think
some of that. Yeah.
It'll be good. It'll be really good. Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you,
fun.
Sherry.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was it. So what did you guys think? They are two of my favorite people, and I really enjoy spending time with them on or off the trail. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation too and enjoyed them. Just a quick recap before we wrap it up here. It is critical to find movement that you enjoy doing if you want to make sustainable change in your life. So make it your mission to try different activities until you find a fit for you. If you're doing classes, try different instructors. There is someone out there that is right for you, an activity that is a perfect fit for you. And if you're just starting out, be patient. You might have some aches and pains. If you do, reach out to someone because it could be an easy fix. Don't give up easily, especially if you enjoy it. And one last thought before we go. Remember the advice from Kathleen's coach and friends? Don't take yourself off the course. Let them take you off the course. You just keep going, I think is a great way to end this podcast. If you want to keep up with Kathleen and Jason's running adventures, you can follow them on Instagram, and I will put the link in the show notes. All right. Well, let me know your thoughts as always. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with your family and friends. You can also give me a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. It helps others find me as well. To get updates on new episodes and wellness inspiration in your inbox, please join the Wellness Inspired community. Go to the wellnessinspiredpodcast.com to sign up, and I'll put the link in the show notes to make it easy for you to click and go. Also, I have a Facebook community at the Wellness Inspired, and you can follow me on Instagram at wellness_inspired. If you're in the Houston area or visiting and interested in acupuncture, herbal medicine, cupping, and dry needling therapy, contact us. You can find out more on our website at element5om.com. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. If you're interested in health and wellness coaching, we can connect in the clinic or on Zoom. Reach out to us and we'll get you on the schedule. And as always, I would love to hear your feedback. I am dedicated to bringing you great content that is inspiring and informative with an artsy, fun, and edgy spin. Thank you so much for listening. We'll meet here again next time. And remember, never stop exploring, learning, loving, and being you. Bye.